Dr. Sharif Abdullah offers a unique, hopeful, and visionary perspective on the persistent challenges of our time. His perspective is shaped by his urban upbringing of poverty and violence, his Ivy League education, and his work with impacted communities in America and in 45 countries around the world. His spiritual outlook is rooted in the consciousness of dozens of religions, faith traditions, and spiritual practices. Sharif offers this unique viewpoint, helping us chart a course that explains where we've been, where we are now, and how we get to a positive future that works for all living beings.
Hello, Sharif here. And today I want to talk to you about change agents. Now, many of you think of yourselves as change agents, and you'll notice from literature on all sides, there are lots of people who are calling themselves change agents, and that going out to say we want to change society. It's interesting that they don't tell you how they want to change society, what is the nature of the society they want to change, and what is the nature of the society they want to get you to. They want to stop all the bad stuff from happening, and there's a lot of bad stuff happening. But they don't tell you how they're going to do the change, whether you're even going to like the change or not, whether or not in agreeing with them that the problem exists does not automatically mean that you will agree to their solution. Some of the solutions I've seen thrown around are worse than the problem. Or in trying to stop this problem, they're going to create 5 other ones and won't take responsibility for those because I'm only trying to change this one over here. Some years ago, I was honored to be invited to a very interesting gathering of change agents. And in this gathering, the hosts posed a number of questions for us to ponder over the course of an entire week. So I had a chance to really grapple with these issues. The questions that were raised for us to grapple with are the same kinds of questions that we're facing right now. Who wants the society to change? Who are these change agents? Who are you? How do you actually change a society? How do you go from what to what? And who are we, the ones who are trying to change the society? Are we actually in a position that we can create a change that's actually going to work for those of us who are living on this planet? So I want to share with you my formulation of the answer to those questions. And in order to do that, I want to show you a really short video of a pouring of some sand. This is quite possibly the world's most boring video, and designed to be that way. This is 1 minute of an hour-long video of falling sand that's actually designed to put you to sleep. That's what it's supposed to do. But I'm showing this to you because this sand is falling in something that is called a standard distribution. Whether it's sand or sugar or anything that's falling, it falls in this very recognizable pattern. And I want you to pay particular attention to the fact that almost all the sugar, all the sand is falling in the center, and that there's a few grains off to the sides. And we'll be talking about both, the center and the few to the. So we know what this distribution, the standard distribution looks like. We all know the bell curve. Those of us who went to college and did statistics know what standard deviations are. That bell curve has been examined to death. Um, my formulation of how you change society is that the center of the society is the center of this heap of sand, this mound of sugar, however you want to see it. We, on the other hand, I shouldn't say we, many of the change agents are not talking to the center. They don't recognize the center. They actually believe that the center is the problem. They are out on the periphery, talking to a few grains of sand out here. And through the magnifying element of the internet, we begin to think that these grains of sand that are out on the periphery are the entire society. So rather than address the center of this mound of sugar, mound of sand, they're talking out here and they're trying to scoop up as many other little grains as they can, and they believe that this is the entire world out here, when there's an entire world in the center that's been unaddressed. That center acts the way it does because nobody's talking to it. Even the people who pretend to talk to it are really pandering to it, are trying to use it, are trying to manipulate it, that they aren't really recognizing what are the issues, what are the needs, what is what are the aspirations and visions of this group here, as opposed to what's happening with these tiny little grains of sand that are on the periphery. So what we're doing, what many of us are doing, saying that we're changing society, is that we're pulling the society apart. We're pulling that heap of sand apart, and trying to get as much of that sand over in my little heap to make a whole new heap. Now, no one has ever shown me where that is a winning strategy for the transformation of society. That doesn't work. Each in the people that I call my lineage, Gandhi and King and Havel and Mandela, they each addressed the center of their societies directly. They went straight to the center and recognized that that center has amazing weaknesses, but that center also has a lot of strength. They recognized that in order for them to change a society, they had to speak in the language that the center would understand. They had to relate their issues to the issues that the center would respond to. They had to articulate their issues in such a way that the center would get it. I mean, would just literally understand the issues that are present. So, not only do you address the center of society, you also address it in centering issues. The issues of how does all this work for us in this world that we're living in right now. In order to get to that place, I believe that we need a higher order of consciousness than what we're getting by addressing the grains out here on the periphery. That we need to be able to talk about and focus on shared values. We need to be able to talk about and focus on shared visions. A vision that lifts us all. We need to be able to couch that vision in language that will resonate with all of us, not with the groups that are out here on the peripheries. Once we do that, once we recognize that there's a whole big heap of sand right in the middle of the table and nobody's talking to it, then we can start looking at doing some things in some very, very different ways. We can start seeing our way forward. And I think I said this to this group, the video audience here. I was doing a training some years ago with some very basic blue-collar, white, primarily male, primarily blue-collar, primarily white, primarily male city workers. And after I'd done a couple of rounds with them, some of the ones that were really affected by it came in early, and they showed me a what's called an Aryan Nation calling card. And for black people, when you see one of those, you are not going to have a good day. And it's the first time I'd ever seen one. And they said, Sharif, until you started talking to us, these people were the only people talking to us. And then they said, between them and you, you're the only one that makes sense. I was the only one articulating the kind of world that they wanted to live in. Now, that tells us our way forward by addressing all of our issues. I was talking to them about ecology, and I was talking to them about social justice, etc., but I wasn't using words that were the fad words of the time. We weren't using words that would divide them. I was using words that would include them. And once we did that, we wound up creating a mutual vision, a mutual way forward. And that's the thing that's going to get us to where we need to get to. Once everyone recognizes it's in their interest to make the change in the society, we can't make it just the interest of those little brains on the outside. We have to make this that all of us are part of this. We have to create a world that works for all living beings. And once we set that even as a goal, we'll start to see the way forward. So thank you.
You are invited to participate in the discussions and activities that will define a positive future for all. We are at the cusp of the expansion of our human consciousness, beyond the limitations of our past. Together, we can envision a world that embraces our human potential. Together, we can create a world that can truly work for all living beings.